you. Have a nice time. We quit smoking.
We quit smoking.
Well, I'm not smoking. And I didn't think anybody could do that.
15,000 cigarettes a year times 35 years.
So I've been smoking for 45 years. It's the easiest thing in the world to quit. I've done it 1,000 times.
Cigarette helps you break the nicotine addiction, and it works in as little as 7 days.
I smoked 43 years. I quit just like that.
I thought I was just going to go nuts wanting a cigarette. I never did. I was just wonderful.
5 packs a day for a while. I'm doing great now.
She bought it and said, try it, and I reluctantly, half-heartedly tried it. But it was so easy that just breezed through it.
Didn't have the urge to eat anymore.
Matter of fact, I lost about 2 pounds.
No way did I want to gain weight, and I was.
When they offered that money-back guarantee, I thought I just have to try it.
No matter how much you smoke, no matter how long you've been smoking, with Cigarette, you'll quit or your money back. Guaranteed. All for hundreds of dollars less than other major programs.
On the other programs, I guess I spent around $2,500 to $3,000.
When you think of the price, it's just amazing.
Think of what you can do with $1,000.
Well, I figured it up at 25 cents a pack, and I could have bought 2 of the homes that I live in now.
And without smoking, we've got a few more years to go together.
Tell them to do what I did. Just order it.
I'd say pick up that phone like I did and call the toll-free number.
Order your cigarettes now. Call 1-800-826-4440. With the cigarettes program, you're guaranteed to stop smoking in as little as 7 days without withdrawal, without gaining weight, and without spending hundreds of dollars. To save COD fees, have your credit card ready and call toll-free 1-800-826-4440 or send $19.95 plus $4 postage and handling to Cigarettes, Box 4444, Carlsbad, California, 92008. Or call toll-free 1-800-826-4440 now.
One Day at a Time was recorded live on tape before a studio audience.
The way some places make hamburger patties, it's no wonder their burgers can turn out thin, dry, and hard. Well, at Hardee's, we make our quarter-pound patties more gently, so they cook up all thick, juicy. It's a complicated machine, but it's based on an idea that's quite old-fashioned, because at Hardee's, we're out to win you over.
If you can't watch News 11 at 5, listen to the radio simulcast, Monday through Friday on the original WWTC 1280.
Nice home, isn't it? Well, there are a few problems. Carpenter ants, roaches, bees, and other unwanted pests. You know, that's not unusual. Any home can get pests. When folks call Bradley Exterminating for help, we offer them fast service with no fuss and no muss at a very reasonable cost. If you have a problem at your home, give Bradley Exterminating a call. If we listed the fine homes just like yours we've serviced, you'd be amazed. Give us a chance to amaze you. That's Bradley Exterminating in the Twin Cities. Call 861-4161.
Hey, did you hear about Alan?
Yeah.
You know, the guy was a heart attack just waiting to happen.
No kidding, huh?
Yeah. Hey, didn't he have a kid?
I think so. The scariest part about heart disease is all the little things you leave behind. You can help prevent it. We can tell you how.
Stay tuned for America's Value Network, immediately following this rebroadcast of News 11.
Now, the Twin Cities' most watched newscast, News 11. With Paul Majors, Diana Pierce, Tom Reiter on sports, and meteorologist Paul Douglas.
Good evening. Topping tonight's News 11, a night out set aside to fight crime.
Across the Twin Cities, hundreds of neighborhoods are united to battle lawbreakers.
In Minneapolis, rally signs were lined up at the Hennepin County Government Center to show how dozens of city neighborhoods are united in this battle. Children were introduced to the anti-crime symbol, McGruff the dog, and heard his famous slogan.
Take a bite out of crime. I can't hear you. Take a bite out of crime.
The mayor told the group that controlling crime in the city is a major concern. At Lincoln Field in North Minneapolis, 30 neighborhood kids went on a crime watch parade carrying banners and chanting to everyone they are against drugs.
Don't use drugs. Hey, hey, hey. Don't use drugs. Hey, hey, hey. Don't use drugs.
After the parade, the neighborhood was reminded about the importance of dialing 911 to report crimes. And at Lake Phelan in St. Paul tonight, a colorful symbol on this national night out. Balloons that were released show how the city and its neighborhoods are together in watching out for one another.
Police say gatherings like these on National Night Out do make a difference. We begin a team report with one neighborhood where street crimes and drug deals are a constant problem. Here's News 11's Melissa Young.
The Central neighborhood has one of the highest crime rates in Minneapolis. But residents here are trying to fight back against drug dealers and others who plague their area. Block parties like this one tonight celebrate some of the successes residents here have had in taking back their neighborhood.
More people have started putting lights on outside. People feel safer about walking after dark. They feel safer about going to their neighbor and say, we're going to be gone. Will you watch the house for us? They rely on their neighbors more.
And I yelled at it, I was going to call the police, and I went and called the police, gave them their descriptions, and some other women came out.
Across the street, another block club discusses the consistent crime that has affected them. Waylon Jones knows all too well. His wife was mugged here 2 years ago.
Like, she wanted to move out right away then, of course, and she said that she never felt at home after that happened.
Now Jones says he feels better about his neighborhood. Several weeks ago, he and others stopped some kids who were harassing an elderly neighbor.
It functioned like the neighborhood meetings are supposed to, where everybody comes out and lets people know that this is our neighborhood, and that you can't just be coming through here unless you want to talk to the people that live here.
Residents here say their neighborhood is not crime-free, but they believe their participation is making a difference. Dennis Stauffer tells us of one St. Paul neighborhood that's fighting a similar battle.
A drum and bugle corps led St. Paul residents east along University Avenue to protest neighborhood crime.
Look like you're out to get burglars.
And after a few pictures, another group headed along University Avenue from the west. They met at University in Lexington for a rally against crime and to note the success of the Neighborhood Watch program in St. Paul.
Just to let people know that neighbors are concerned and that they're going to do something about it, about the crime in the neighborhood, and not that they're just not going to let it happen.
Burglaries are down 22% from last year in St. Paul, 30% in the Midway District. And police say one reason for that is all the Neighborhood Watch programs around the city. Organizers hope this event will generate interest to create new block clubs to help fight crime in still more neighborhoods. The problem of crime in St. Paul is far from solved, but the city's been more successful than most at reducing crime, and they think that's worth celebrating. Dennis Stauffer, News 11, St. Paul.
There were 17 groups that participated in tonight's rally against crime in the Midway. Paul?
Well, they're not the only ones. Thousands of communities nationwide tonight are taking part in the National Night Out. It started several years ago to get residents to watch for crimes and report them. More than 16 million people in 5,000 communities are taking part in the event by turning on their porch lights and sitting outside in an attempt to keep criminals out of their neighborhoods. Some frightening figures on crime in Minneapolis are out tonight, and the city council wants police to fight back. An FBI report shows the crime rate in Minneapolis jumping 40% from 1979 to 1987. That's far above the average increase nationwide of 11% and way above St. Paul's increase of just 1.5%. News 11's Bernie Grace reports on reaction from City Hall.
These new FBI numbers have provided two council members with ammunition for their drive to put more cops on the streets.
We have to realize what we are, and if we are 55% of the violent crimes in the metropolitan area in the corporate limits of the city of Minneapolis, it's time we know it and do something about it.
722 police officers is not enough officers to keep security at a safe level in the city.
The increase in crimes over the past several years has pushed Minneapolis near the top when compared to other cities. Fort Worth ranks first in the number of crimes committed per 100,000 residents. Further down the list, in sixth place, is Miami. Detroit's ranked 10th, Minneapolis 12th. Below Minneapolis are such cities as Newark, Oakland, Houston, New York, and way down ranked 45th is St. Paul. But several police officials don't think Minneapolis stacks up as poorly against other cities, as these figures would indicate. They simply think that more people are reporting crimes these days. They credit that on a variety of police programs aimed at encouraging victims to call police.
I don't think there's any other city in this nation that has gone to the pains that we have to ensure citizens reporting of crimes that we do.
While the FBI numbers paint a bleak picture, newer figures out over the past 6 months show the crime rate in Minneapolis on the decline again. In Minneapolis, Bernie Grace, News 11.
A public hearing will be held later this month regarding hiring more police officers.
The suspect accused of a brutal murder on a Minneapolis parking ramp will go on trial. That's the decision for Thomas Schwartz, who was found mentally competent to stand trial. He's accused of stabbing KARE Coonrod to death in May, and the murder was so brutal, Schwartz was given psychological tests. He now goes back to court next month. Peter Murr, the St. Paul man accused of murdering his father and dumping the body in the desert, says he didn't do it. In Ramsey County Court, Murr testified he didn't kill his father, and the last time he saw Ted Murr alive was in January, before he left for California. Ted Murr's body was found in Death Valley in March, and Peter Murr was arrested in Oregon a short time later. The trial is expected to wrap up tomorrow.
A Minneapolis police officer has been fired as a result of a drunk driving charge. Officer Greg Hansen was dismissed after a car accident 2 weeks ago. Police say Hansen ran a red light and smashed into another car, seriously injuring a passenger. Police also confirm Hansen was drunk at the time. Authorities tonight aren't sure what caused a head-on collision that killed 4 people near Kingston. The State Patrol says 2 cars collided head-on Highway 15 just south of the town. An elderly couple, Chester and Anna McCord of Dassel, were in one car, and Lillian Kegler and her sister Josephine Peters were in the other. All 4 people were pronounced dead at the scene.
Tonight marks the 43rd anniversary of the U.S. bombing of Nagasaki, Japan, and hundreds came to the state capitol to remember that event. The participants gathered on the Capitol steps and lit candles for the victims who died suffering from thirst and radiation burns. Some St. Paul residents have visited Nagasaki, which is St. Paul's sister city. Earlier in the day, 30 protesters marked the anniversary with a peaceful demonstration outside the FMC headquarters in Minneapolis. They drew chalk outlines of bodies to honor those who died in Nagasaki and Hiroshima, and they expressed their feelings through song. Police officers were there but made no arrests.
Congress tonight passed a bill to help farmers struggling with the drought. The House gave overwhelming approval to giving nearly $4 billion in aid to drought-stricken farmers. Those who've lost more than 35% of their crops can apply for aid after President Reagan signs the bill as soon as it reaches his desk. Dairy supports are expected to go up 50 cents under the plan, and Minnesota officials say 70% of the state's farmers will be eligible for aid. Minnesota's dairy farmers are especially hard hit because the drought dried up crops used to feed cattle. The Molnow farm in Carver County, it's been a tough year, but there are high hopes for the corn crop.
Well, if I get the corn I expect, we may have to buy some. I'm expecting worse. I'm hoping for better.
Molnows are taking their losses in stride and say the drought relief bill, if passed, will bring them about $700. Still ahead tonight on News 11, the latest on a storm named Beryl and the damage she's caused.
Also tonight, a place where parents can phone to get some answers when pressures mount.
The latest on a little girl fighting a terrible disease and hoping for a miracle.
And cannons are fired for a little girl the world is anxious to see.
For the ultimate in sleeping comfort, the Comforest Automatic Adjustable Bed. Your Comforest bed adjusts, relieving back and leg muscles while you read, watch TV, or sleep. Now wake up from the best night's sleep enjoyed in years with your new bed from Comforest Adjustable Beds. Visit our new showroom, 5005 University Northeast. That's 5005 University Northeast, or call right now at 572-8361.
Hey, get ready, everyone. Here it comes.
Happy birthday to you.
Oh, it looks
Happy
delicious.
birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you.
Give the gift of sight to someone awaiting a cornea transplant. Contact us for more information on how you can be a donor.
It now costs banks more to borrow money from the Federal Reserve, and consumers may soon have to pay more for credit. The Fed raised the discount rate a half a point to 6.5%. And because of the higher rate banks pay to borrow money, consumer interest rates may soon go up. The Fed made the move to fight inflation. Wall Street reacted to the announcement as the Dow Jones Industrials dropped more than 28 points, closing just below the 2880 mark. Volume was heavy on Wall Street's second down day this week.
The State Board of Education is getting tough on high school students planning harder courses. The Board of Education met today, passing the proposal to add more math and science courses to the high school curriculum. The plan suggests schools offer more foreign language and fine arts courses. The proposal now goes to the legislature, and if passed, the tougher standards will go into effect.
The nation's educators have a new leader, and that story tops Datelines tonight. President Reagan nominated Laurel Cavazos as the new Secretary of Education today at a ceremony at the White House. Cavazos is the president of Texas Tech, and he'll replace William Bennett, who's leaving office next month. Cavazos is the first Hispanic to hold a cabinet post. In Baghdad, there was celebration in the streets in the Iraqi capital. It was Victory Day in Baghdad after the UN announced fighting between Iraq and Iran would end later this month. The two nations have been at war in the Persian Gulf for 8 years. And in London, Prince Andrew brought his wife Sarah a small bundle of flowers to celebrate the birth of their daughter yesterday. The Princess of York weighed in at 6 pounds 12 ounces, and some royal cannons were fired in celebration. The child is yet unnamed.
Paul Douglas joins us now. Good news in the weather department.
It's always good. It's always good. No, it's not. It's going to warm up well into the 90s here by the end of the week. Back into a tropical stew, a few thundery lumps. We've already had 39 days above 90. We just obliterated the old record of 36. I think we'll get at least 45, maybe 50 before the summer is through. Great news. Okay, we're getting used to it, aren't we? Meanwhile, Beryl is sloshing westward across the Gulf of Mexico. It's been downgraded to a tropical depression, and today an estimated 1,500 people who fled coastal sections of Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana began returning to their homes. At its peak, Beryl kicked up 7-foot tides, squeezing out 5-inch rains, flooding some roads, blowing down a few power lines. Damage didn't amount to much. Small boats stayed in port again today, and the threat of gusty squalls kept 1,500 offshore oil workers on shore. At least one drowning death has been blamed on Beryl. A relatively wimpy storm as these things go. Here's the evening satellite photograph. Big thunderstorms boiling up over the nation's midsection. Hail the size of mothballs outside Oklahoma City. At least half a dozen tornadoes in western Nebraska. And here are some of the spiral bands associated with tropical depression Beryl. Winds now 35 miles an hour. Beryl sloshing to the west at about 35 miles an hour. Most of the circulation over land. And again, Beryl is literally starving to death, and as a result, will continue to fizzle. Now, it's conceivable some of the moisture from Beryl could fuel thunderstorms over the Plain States later on in the week, maybe even fueling a thunderstorm here by the weekend. We're going to be near the jet stream, near a front by Friday and Saturday, and that'll mean a few